Good morning, everyone. Welcome to FSO425 Career Placement. Again, we have such a great attendance today, and we also have Professor Deborah with us joining. So before I begin actually our class, I just wanted to share a land acknowledgement so that we can acknowledge the stewardship of our Indigenous community as they've taken care of our land, and then we'll continue with our meeting. So Seneca campuses are located on the land stewarded by the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat nations. We acknowledge Treaty 13, Toronto Purchase, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit Nation, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa First Nations. We're all interconnected as treaty people with shared obligation to learn, respect, honor, and sustain. Today, this land continues to be home for many diverse Indigenous people, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. We are grateful for the continuous unceasing Indigenous stewardship of these lands and waters. Many of you are joining us all over Turtle Island and name many Indigenous peoples used for North America and around the world. We encourage you to seek out our whose ancestral lands you are on today. So thank you again so much, everyone. Good morning for joining our FSO 425 class. As you all know, this is our one and only meeting. The reason being is the hours that you would typically be in the classroom are now spent outside in the workforce, whether it be at the airport or at your place of work. So I just wanted to do a quick introduction first of myself and Professor Deborah. We will be your professors. Myself will be from May to June. And then after the study break, Professor Deborah will be taking over the rest of the course. So just a little bit about myself. I do recognize many familiar names that I've taught before. And for those that I'm just meeting today, my name is Ava. I worked with Cathay Pacific Airways for 13 years as a flight attendant. It was based in Asia, and we primarily flew from Toronto to Hong Kong. I flew 15-hour long flights, 300 passengers, 15 crew, so lots of stories and adventures that I can share with you throughout our course. I was hired at Seneca in 2016 as part-time, and then was full-time in 2020 during the pandemic. So now my sole responsibilities are teaching at Seneca as well as heading up our field placement opportunities. As many of you know, very exciting, we have Porta Airlines that have recently joined. This is their first semester with us, so they're very happy to start off on a really great experience with some of our students. We also have Air Transat and Cathay Pacific. So thank you so much, everyone. So nice to meet you. I'm going to hand it over to Professor Deborah, who can also share some introduction.
Thank you, Ava, so much, and welcome everyone. And I do recognize some faces here too, and I look forward to getting to know you over the second part of the semester. My name is Deborah Neal, and I just joined Seneca in last year of April 2023. Before that, I was a flight attendant for 36 years. I started with a company called Ward Air in 1985. And then I went on to work with Canadian Airlines. And then we were sort of absorbed into Air Canada, and I finished my career with Air Canada after 21 years. So I had a wonderful career, and like Ava, I flew all over, all over the world. It's just been a fantastic career, wonderful friends. I did retire during the pandemic. It just was an opportunity that I couldn't resist. But I have to say that when I did retire, there were some tears. I have to tell you, I was quite emotional about it. It was a big decision. And I think you guys, if you decide to go into this career, you're going to absolutely love it. So I'm here now at Seneca teaching, and hopefully, like Professor Ava and all the other professors, will inspire you and be a great resource to you as you continue on with your studies in the program. So I wish you much success in your career placement, and I'll send it back to you, Ava.
Thanks, Deborah. 36 years. Right? It's hard to give up. It's a lifestyle. So
yeah, good stuff.
Oh, thank you. So everyone, first thing, congratulations. All of you here in the course, you have a placement, whether it be with the airlines or with your place of work. I wanted to ask, how was training this week? I know many of you had your initial, or not initial, your orientation and your uniform fittings with Cathay Transat Porter. How was it? Feel free to share in the chat box. You can unmute your mic. I know many of you had your training. Transat was on Monday. Porter was also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cathay had theirs, I think, was it Tuesday or Thursday? So how did it go? I hope you had a good opportunity to see the airport. Yeah, you liked it, Ashley? I know, right? And it's a different environment when you're actually there. Flights are happening, you see passengers. It could feel a little bit overwhelming, which is great because that brings you a little bit of that, excitement and pressure to learn a lot more. Um, yeah, for sure, Stephanie. I think it was nerve-wracking. What I find with this course is a lot of the students, because you'll tend to start working with familiar students during your shifts. So usually, Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, you'll probably work with the same students. So in that aspect, you'll get to know one another. You'll become, almost like a family. You'll get to support each other. And so in that way, you get to communicate and figure out, what works, what doesn't. Maybe you had a situation with a passenger one day and you want to share that with some of your fellow students. So, it's just a great start to get to know each other during orientation, but knowing that in the coming weeks and in the coming months, you'll be definitely even more familiar with each other. Um, yeah, that's so great to hear. I know. Thanks, Ashley, Stephanie, and Sarah for sharing. And no, yes, and like Sarah messaged me direct, but the staff are so friendly. Know that if you have any questions, that's what they're there for. Don't hesitate. If there's something that you're not sure of, you just run up to one of those guest service agents that are working with you, and ask them some questions, and they'll definitely be there. They're happy to help for sure. So just to mention, all of you, like I had said previously, should have a placement already. So I think there are about 5 or 6 of you that still don't have a confirmed placement. So I wanted to let you know, please do reach out to student advisor Irene through the service hub and let them know that you will have to drop this course and take a second professional option. The reason being is you need to have a placement position secured by next week, week 2, by Friday, May the 10th. But the problem is that the deadline to actually add courses is today by midnight. So if there were any courses that you needed to add, for example, a professional option course in the place of this course, FSO425, you must do that today. So please do reach out. I have also emailed each of you individually. So you would have received emails from me with regards to instructions on how to reach out to Irene, the service hub, and how to drop this course to replace the second professional option. You can also email me at the end of this meeting if you did have any questions about that. Okay, so the meeting, like I mentioned today, will be the only one. And I'm going to take this opportunity to go through everything that you need to know about this course. So know that Professor and myself are here for you. If you need to reach out, you can email us. We've also created WhatsApp chats for the groups. So for the different airlines, if you needed any support or any ad hoc questions, you can definitely do that through the chat. But of course, email would be the best way to reach out to us. So I'm going to take a look at our course site now. We're going to go through essentially your assignment. Because as you know, as an online course, all the hours are going to be at the airport. There's actually no lesson. There's no sit down lectures that you have to review. Essentially, what you'll be doing is as the weeks progress through placement, you will have certain assignments that you will need to complete. So first thing is going to be the course page. If anybody does not have access to it, feel free to let me know in the chat box so we can figure it out together. So first thing is on our course page, you're going to see the course information. And here on the course information, we've gone through our land acknowledgement. There's some information about contact information. The main thing I want you to pay attention to is the course information, the details, the breakdown of the evaluation, and then of course, the learning outcomes. So these will be what your goals are for the end of this course and what we aim for you to achieve by the time that you complete placement. So a lot of things like practicing professional behaviors, getting that networking going on, being able to provide regular attendance and punctuality, very similar to what you would do in class, but now you're out at the airport or in the field. This is very important for you because it will help you complete your first assignment, and we'll go through that in a little bit. The next tab I wanted to share is our faculty information. So again, Professor Deborah and myself have already inputted some of our information. Definitely, we aim to respond to your emails or any of your messages within 2 days. And it's just a little bit more information about ourselves. So the second important thing I want to share is our addendum. You probably went through this in some of your courses already. I find this is a really important document. I'm going to share with you, honestly, I actually check this every week, at least once a week, because it's actually something that I refer to make sure that we're on track. So a big tip that I typically share with my students is at the start of the week, try to take a look at your addendum for all your courses. Once you have them open in your calendar, whether it be on your phone, maybe even like on a paper calendar, write down or note down the important dates of every course. So for example, FSO425, May 17th, getting started harassment sensitivity quiz. May 17th, progress check. May 24th, FSO 425, blog creation. So in your calendar, on your phone or on your paper calendar, you have all these dates available to you so that you won't miss a hard deadline. On the addendum, you'll also see our weekly topics. So we'll have our first virtual class meeting, and that will be the only meeting. From there, you have the rest of these assignments and these topics that we'll be going through for the rest of the semester. So the only two documents that you would need to review for your first assignment coming up will be the course information, which is the first tab at the top of the page, as well as the addendum. So let's jump into the assignment. First assignment, like I mentioned, is going to be based on those two things that you'd have to review. So it's going to be on the harassment and violence prevention. So typically this would be a deconstructing quiz, but we've actually, we've changed it to be the harassment and violence prevention. So you actually need to go through the harassment and violence prevention workplace module. So for assignment number 1, I'm going to open it up and share with you what you'll need to complete. So what happens is we found that a lot of students, and you know, you can actually share with me if you like, quick show of hands, has anybody worked before? So before placement, has anybody had a second job other than school, other than placement? Show of hands. Yeah. Oh, for sure. So many of you. Yeah. So Stephanie for sure, right? I know Shanice as well had one as well. Rahel, yeah. So a lot of you today, right, have had another job. So Cole, Mikalea. So knowing that we've had another job, that's fantastic. But some of us actually, our placement may be the very first time that we're out in the workplace. Many of us have not had experience with managers, with supervisors, with trying to keep a shift, scheduling and balancing work with our school. So we found that we want to educate our students to know that you understand what is acceptable and what is not acceptable at the workplace. And so this module is all about keeping you safe, keeping you comfortable, and knowing that you are protected. So if anything that is uncomfortable or anything that should occur at work that you're not sure of or that you don't know where to go or what you should do about it, you have a place. And that place is us, Seneca, that is us, your professors, and it's also your employers at the workplace. And they know about this harassment and violence prevention. And so what you want to do is for your first assignment, you're going to go through this module. I think it's about 20 slides long, and I created this so that it includes different scenarios. So you're going to learn about what is harassment, what is bullying, what is violence, what are things that are acceptable and not acceptable at the workplace. Most importantly, I want to share with you some of the examples. So you'll have, for example, scenario 1. We'll read about it, then you'll learn, for example, this was on a chat. Is this acceptable or is this not acceptable? You'll also have another scenario 2 where there's a WhatsApp chat and they talk about it, about something interesting or that happened in their workplace. So is it acceptable? Is it not? So understand that it's not just things that happen at work, at the airport, or at your place of work. It could also be things that you're going through on your phone, whether it be chats that you're talking to with employees or with your coworkers. So it's really important for you to go through this module. Once you have gone through this module, there is a knowledge check. So once you've completed that, you're going to click on this link, and this knowledge check, I think I've given you 3 attempts, and the passing grade is a minimum of 80%. So you can go back and review the workplace and harassment module. Let me change this now to 3. One second here. Change that to 3 there. And so if you are having, troubles, or if you want to review some of the content, you definitely want to do that so that you can obtain an 80% passing mark. So there's going to be questions here. I'm not going to go through all of them because, you see on my screen, I'll show you the answers. But what you can do is once you finish that PDF module, you will then click on this. Once you've achieved 80, there's nothing else for you to do. You'll just submit that quiz and then we can grade it. If you decide that you need to go through it again, Blackboard will submit your latest achievement, which will be your most recent submission, which will have the 80%. So like I mentioned, you have up to 3 attempts. So any questions on assignment number 1? This will be due on May 17th, so by next week, Friday, by midnight. Any questions on assignment 1?
All good, Professor.
Hi, Hannah.
It's all good.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to move on to progress check 1. So this is, it's almost like an assignment, but we label this progress check. This will actually be delayed by a week because I'm noticing the timelines, and I had checked with the employers because we're going to do your progress check probably in the week of the 20th to the 24th. What's going to happen is I'm going to send you a link, and you're just going to book a time to meet with me. Essentially, this progress check is going to be an opportunity for me to meet you on Zoom, or on the phone call, or in person, whatever works for you. And what we'll do is we'll spend about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. It'll just be the two of us. If Professor Deborah's available, she can jump on. But typically, it's the professor and the student, and we'll just talk about how you're finding placement. It's a chance for you to ask me questions. Maybe there's something that you're not unsure of at work, but you're kind of nervous to ask the employers. So you want to talk about it with me? Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. So I'll send you an MS Teams link. You'll pick a time. There's going to be different time slots. You'll pick a day that works for you, and then we'll jump on together on a Zoom link or an MS Teams link, and then I'll meet you virtually. If you do feel more comfortable talking in person, we can definitely set that up, or even over the telephone. So just check out for an email that's coming from me. I'll probably send it on Monday. Or maybe even by the end of day, we'll see the timeline, and then you can pick a date. So that will be worth 10% of your mark for that meeting. Then we have assignment number 2. So assignment number 2 is a blog creation. So if you click on the assignment here, you can actually open up the document with full instructions. So what will happen is this is going to be a 2-part assignment. The first part is really just for you to create the website. We found that students really like to blog, and I know a lot of us like to share, like on our TikTok, on our Instagram. So this is an opportunity for you to create your own site, and you'll send me the link to your site. After you set up that site, every week, or maybe twice a week, or maybe 3 times a week, or maybe even just once every couple of weeks, you're going to create a blog. So it's essentially documenting your journey and your adventure at placement. Many students love sharing photos. If you do share photos, we ask students to ask permission in case the employer doesn't want you to share. But most of the employers, they know about this assignment, so they're pretty comfortable with it. Students love sharing photos. They love sharing videos. I've had students share, their timeline, commuting to the airport, walking to the airport, putting on their uniform, things like that. So essentially the first part is really for you to create that blog link. And a lot of students, they have a platform that they're comfortable with. So there's not one that you have to particularly use, but some popular ones that students share are Tumblr. as well as Instagram. So whatever works for you, whichever blogging platform that you're comfortable with. So by May 24th, you will submit your blog link through this link. So you just have to click on it. And then from here, you just enter your submission at the bottom and you just add your blog link for me. So let me share with you this blog link or some examples of the blogs that some of my students have actually done. So the most recent ones are from Cathay and Transat. So I can share with you Sarani's. So she just completed her placement with Cathay just this past winter. So this was them just during Easter. Cathay gave them Easter egg baskets to hand out Easter eggs. And you'll notice with the blogs, additional to the photos are actual text. So that is how you're going to obtain the full marks. Essentially with this blog, within the semester, you're going to have to create a minimum of 10 blogs. And those 10 blogs will equate to your 10% in the class. So each blog will have to have really good content, right? So it can't just be a picture or, a meme. It has to be, a content where I'm actually reading about it. You can see Sarani here, she's actually doing her dim sum card, what we call. And the content is not just one sentence, right? It's a good paragraph or two to share your experience. I'll share with you another example here with Transat. Allison here, and Allison has been hired with Transat. So again, there's her with the check-in counter. So again, right, she's writing good content, right? She has a photo. So yeah, and it could be anything. It could be about a passenger situation. It could be, a really good experience you've had. So I'll share one more. Here's Saders. So Cedar actually got hired by Cathay, and then now he's flying with Rouge now. So through Cathay, I think he had a connection through there, and then he was able to secure a position with Air Canada. So he's now flying with Rouge as a flight attendant. So here again, you'll see a little bit about himself, and then he shares his blogs. I love it. So look at his content. It's a lot, right? And it's really great concrete examples of him and his experience. So that's what we're looking for in your blogs. I've posted these on the course site, so you can definitely peruse through to see what's expected. Your final blog entry will be due August 12th. So you must have all 10 blog entries completed by August 12th to receive your full marks. So any questions for assignment number 2? Good. Okay. So let's move on to assignment number 3. Assignment number 3 is SMART objectives. So by May 31st, what we're looking at is when you click on the link, essentially students want to create goals for themselves. So you want to go to placement with a purpose, right? Oftentimes the first couple of weeks, students are still learning. So there's still excitement there. There's still a lot of things that you're new to. So it really does create that wonderful, adventure. But we find that again, after, the first month or two, you want to have more. You want to have maybe a goal or two that you want to achieve during your placement. So this is where this assignment comes along. It's worth 5% of your mark. And essentially, you're going to come up with 2 goals that you want to achieve at your place of work. And when we write these goals, you're going to submit it on Blackboard, and it's going to be a couple of sentences for each goal. So let me give you an example. The example that I'm going to give you a good example and a bad one. So the bad one, the first one to start off is if you just say, my goal at placement with Porter is to get to know Terminal 3. Now that is a bad example. I'm going to share with you how I can revise it to make it a good example. By June 1st, my goal at Porter placement is to understand the different airlines that are working at Terminal 3. To achieve this goal, I'm going to arrive at the airport 5 to 10 minutes earlier before each shift so that I can orient myself with the airport, and I will be able to evaluate how successful I am by being able to see how well I answer passengers' questions about Terminal 3. So do you see the difference? Rather than just saying a general goal, I've actually specified what the goal is. I have outlined how I'm going to measure the goal. So by a certain day, I want to achieve that. I've mentioned how I'm going to achieve it. So I'm going to arrive to the airport earlier, realistically and timely. And then how am I going to gauge if I've achieved the goal? Well, I'm going to see if I can answer the questions about Terminal 3. So that is what we're looking for in this assignment. You're going to come up with two. It can be anything you want. I've had students share they want to learn a new language. They want to learn about the kiosk. They want to obtain their rate card. So it could be anything pertaining to your place of work, but you're going to come up with two. And your example here I want to share here is going to be what the format will look like. So you can just simply enter it into the Blackboard, or you can create a Word document and submit the Word document. So this example that I shared here is by October 15th, I'll improve my telephone skills. I will do this by being aware of my tone of voice, articulation and speed when talking on the phone, and ensuring the listener understands the reason for my call. I'll also observe my coworkers. To evaluate my success, I will request feedback from coworkers and supervisor. I will also be aware of my comfort level when talking on the phone in the work environment. So this was a student that shared this with me, and I got their permission to share. They actually worked at a tour agency, and they were there in the office helping manage the tours and the booking. So any questions about assignment number 3, your SMART objective? Feel free to type it in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic as well. So what's great about our course page is the assignments are all posted with full instructions. So the time for this SMART objective will be May 31st. So don't worry if you want to work ahead, absolutely. But if not, rest assured that Professor Deborah and myself, we will be sending you regular reminders and announcements of what's coming up and what's due. So if not, then we're going to move on to Progress Check 2. So this is actually really fun. Progress Check 2 actually takes place at the airport. I will come visit you at your place of work. I will see you in action. And the most exciting part is we actually get to meet with your employer. So we will sit down, we will arrange a date, and I will actually communicate this with you closer to June. It will be during sometime the week of 17th to 21st or the week after. It really just depends on when the employers are available. But what will happen is I will come to visit you. We'll have a meeting with your employer. So with Porter, it could be with Sophia, it could be with Chris, it could be with Marlena. Kathy, it could be with Wynn, Hannah, it could be with Barack, with Transat, it's most likely going to be with Judith. And then for other students that are with other workplaces, we'll meet either virtual or telephone with your employer. And what will happen is it'll be a good 15 minutes where the three of us we'll sit down and just talk about how well you're doing. You'll get feedback from them on how well you're performing. There may be some improvements, but it's really good constructive criticism from the employer. They may even talk about potential employment opportunities that are available to you at that point in placement. So it's just really great. We find, again, sometimes when you're working different shifts, students don't see the same people. And sometimes you might not even see your employer, right? You'll be working with different ground agents, but you actually won't see your supervisor or manager for a few weeks. So this is really great FaceTime. And then this is actually when your blog comes into play, because at this point in the middle of the semester, you would probably have about 4 to 5 blogs created. And I often ask students to share with the employer their blogs, and the employers love it. They actually get to see what you're doing. They have insight into your, encounters with passengers, and it's more personal. So that's an opportunity again for you to kind of market yourself and to share, your experiences and sort of your personal perception and achievements at placement. So that will be your progress check 2. So we'll set that up in the middle of June. Then you have your last assignment. So your last assignment will be assignment number 4. That's not due until the end of August, but I want to share with you it's the final reflection with 10%. This is done on Blackboard. So what you'll do is simply answer the questions on the page. So the purpose of this assignment, it's really for you to reflect, just like the assignment is, it's a final reflection. It's for you to share with me and Professor Deborah how you enjoyed placement And this is a place for you to be honest. It's only between you and the professors. The employers do not receive this. So you can tell us what worked well, what didn't, what you found was important in your growth and your experiences, and what essentially bombed, or what you think, the employers can improve on. So, question 1 talks about your goal. Did you achieve them? Did you not? And then question 2 will talk about, what are some examples of how you handled guests? What are some things that you found were really important in placement? And, what did you learn about yourself? So it's really, again, a thoughtful practice for you to reflect on, your 4 months of work, because it's your passion, it's your dedication, it's you showing up to the airport or showing up to work every day, whether it be at 4 in the morning or staying until 2 a.m. It's sharing your personal perspective. And so this is worth 10%. And again, this isn't done until August 9th. So any questions about assignment number 4? Or even about the progress check? Look on the chat box here. All right. And if not, there's also 2 more final evaluations, and these actually make up the most of the chunk of your marks, but it's nothing for you to do per se. The employer evaluation is going to be a survey that will be sent to the employers. They will actually fill out how well you did. They'll give feedback. It will be shared to you once it's received. After it's received, we'll send you an email with it. And then the 150 hours completed, what will happen is we'll also verify with your employers that you've completed the 150 hours. For some of you that have your other placements not with the airlines, you will be a timesheet. And I've emailed you already with the timesheet. You will simply enter your timesheets, and once I receive that, or when Professor Deborah receives it, they'll be verifying that with your employer to make sure that you complete your 150 hours. Yeah, so what's great about most of the placements is you would have already gotten your schedules from now until the end of the semester. So within that time, we've accounted that you will have the 150 hours complete. Now, with the course page, we've set it up so that if you have any questions, you can absolutely take a look at it. One most important thing I want to share is also the career placement handbook. This is something that I actually created over the summer, where I was so gracious and really thankful for Camille, who's our placement assistant. She took all my ideas and put them in a handbook and made it very presentable. So this is a handbook that actually outlines everything you need to know about placement. So the hardest part is actually getting a job. And all of you now have one. So really give yourselves a pat on the back for that. You've gone through the interview process, you've done it. So the really important piece now is completing it. And it's about how to treat the job. And it gives you tips on the job success. And what we really want to emphasize with you today is you treat placement just like a job. From the get-go, I want you to understand students really do outperform, and the employers see it, and you get basically a foot in the door to possibly get hired. And it's a great feeling to have. Some of you may, be really exciting and get butterflies in your stomach right now, but I really want you to know that it does happen, and it happens very often. And many of you probably even know many of the students that have been hired already. And even if you don't get hired by your placement position, it looks fantastic on your resume, and it shows. And you don't put 150 hours. You put Cathay Pacific from May to September. Porter, May to September. And it shows on your resume that you have 4 to 5 months of relevant placement experience, so that when you apply for different airlines, they see that work experience. So I want you to know that it is a job, and students have been let go because of absences or poor performance. So I just want you to know that this is a fantastic opportunity to just network, get connections. You can even talk to people at CATSA. You can talk to security. You can talk to different flight attendants, pilots. It's just such a great adventure. So take advantage of that placement opportunity. And so that's about it. So really, it's just assignments that you're responsible for. Main thing that you need to work on from today's class is going to be your assignment number 1, which is due next week, Friday. which will be your harassment and violence prevention. Go through the module and then complete the quiz on Blackboard. And then that's it. Any questions? Any feedback at all? Wow, great. I'm glad it's clear. And you know what? We'll have questions that come along as we go. So if you did, you can always email us, right? We're ready available. I would say email myself, and I'm pretty good with responding. And then when Professor Deborah takes over, you'll reach out to her. So in the time being, like I mentioned, just work on your assignment 1. Expectation is for you to just ensure that you submit them on time. You can expect from me as your professor, I will be regular with sending you announcements. I'll send you regular emails and announcements on Mondays so that you will know what is ahead that week and what you are expected to complete. And then I'll also send you reminders of the assignments due so that you don't miss the deadline. If you do miss the deadlines, I just want to reinforce the late policy. It's going to be 10% deduction for every day that it is late for up to 5 days. And then a maximum 5 days thereafter, you will receive a grade of 0. So students are pretty good with it. So if you have any questions, though, you can absolutely reach out and email or even text. Thanks, everyone. If there's no questions, then I wish you a wonderful Friday. Enjoy the weekend. I know some of you are doing your first shifts at the airport. Good luck. Have fun. And keep me posted. I want to hear all about your adventures, all about your experiences. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.